I have Brian's TC at my friend's garage to install Winjet fog lights. It comes with new bezels, wires and hardware, and this basic wiring guide. I already have his bumper off. I'll put a link to that guide in my video description below. One of the nice things about this kit is that it includes an OEM style switch instead of a generic rocker one. Here's what the harness looks like. We have our H11 connectors, a relay, an inline fuse, and this plug that goes into the switch. Now to install the new bezels. I just have to remove this screw here and push these tabs in to pop out the old fog light cover. The cover took a little effort to remove, but the new bezel popped into place easily. Reinstall the original screw to secure it. And here it is with the fog light installed. It only requires 3 screws and washers. This is the adjustment knob in case you need to raise or lower the height of your beam once you're done installing. Per Toyota, the top of your fog light beam should be 4 inches below the center line at 25 feet out. Now to figure out how to run the wires. I may put the relay and fuse closer to the battery. This wire is the worst part of the install for most because it requires running it through the firewall. It's not that bad since we can use this grommet that's under the heater core hoses, but it will require removing the wiper cowl, trim, and pan to get to. I'll put a link to that guide in my video description below. At the bottom of the grommet is a rubber nub that looks like a hose cap. I cut the end off with snips so I can run the wire through it. It's just large enough to accommodate 8-gauge wire. I'm glad I'm not dealing with that stubborn exhaust manifold nut. Alright, so here's how I have the wires run and secured with zip ties. I tried to duplicate Toyota's OEM fog light harness routing as much as possible like it is on my car. I zip tied it in various spots on the back of the upper radiator support. I decided to put the relay and fuse out of the way down here, while still making it accessible from above. I zip tied the excess wires here as well. I ran the red wire directly to the battery positive terminal, and the black wire to the battery chassis ground. I wanted the wire running to the switch out of the way, so I ran it between the ECU and fuse box, then up and over the brake fluid reservoir where it will be hidden by the wiper cowl, and into the opening on the bottom of the grommet. You can use a little WD-40 to help slide the wire through. If you crawl under the dash and look above the accelerator pedal, you'll see where the wire comes out. Now to install the switch. This bezel is held in place on each corner with clips. Just pull it straight back and out to remove. Now I can remove the switch blank by depressing the tabs on the top and bottom and pushing it out the front. I chose the spot on the right just like factory. The new switch should pop right into place, but it may take a little effort. To make it easier to run the wires up to the switch, I'm going to pull this bottom panel off. There's enough space for me to reach behind and pull the wires up through there now. If you haven't already, remove the driver's side kick panel so you can access this ground point. Before I run the wire on this side, I'm going to crimp a fuse tap onto the red power wire. If you look under the driver's side dash, you'll see a fuse box. I've already connected the ground, so now I just need power. There are a few open spots, but you don't want to use them. Those spots have constant power, so the LEDs on the switch will always be on. Instead, we want to plug the tap where the taillight fuse goes. The 10 amp taillight fuse should go on the bottom, and the fog light fuse on top next to the power wire. Insert the tap so the power wire is facing towards the firewall. The LEDs on the switch are now off, until you turn on the lights. Off, on, and when you turn on the fog lights, it gets brighter. Now that I know everything works, I've zip tied this end of the harness along with the red extension wire up and over any moving parts by following the main OEM harness. The rest of the wires run up to the switch while the excess extension wire is zip tied behind the kick panel. Now to replace the lower panel by lining up the bottom tabs, then pushing it back up into place, and then we can reattach the switch bezel. The excess wires will be zip tied and tucked just behind it. I recommend zip tying the fuse box cover in place like this so you don't lose it. Reinstall the cowl pan and trim and bumper per my guides in the video description below, and you're done. I hope this helped you out if you're trying to wire up fog lights for your Scion TC. If you haven't hit subscribe to my channel yet, please do so now, and as always, thank you for watching.